Hey folks, and welcome to Truck King. Today we're looking at this, the 2024 Ford F-150 STX. Now the F-150 has been updated for 2024, so we're going to talk about what's new, but more importantly, the STX here is just one step above the basic F-150 trim, so it should be affordable. Is it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into right now. Let's take a closer look at this truck now. So although we do have the STX, which like I mentioned is one step above base, we do have an upgraded powertrain. This is the 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6. It's making 400 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque sent through a 10-speed automatic. And yes, that is a at-cost option. You are paying to get the bigger engine. Now, when you get the STX package, it is a lot about bringing style to a more basic truck. So you can see we're getting a unique grille, sort of the blacked out valence, blacked out 18-inch wheels down there, which do look pretty good. And then we also have the FX4 off-road package on our truck here. So we are getting a set of General Grabber all-terrain tires, some skid plates underneath, and the unique suspension tuning that comes along with FX4. You can see too, black badges. As we come down, you get the black door handles. We do also have a nice step on this truck as well, and I do think it's pretty handsome looking. Why don't you drop in the comments right now, let me know what you think of the styling here on this STX. Let's look at the business end of this F-150 now. So first of all, the tailgate is not damped. That's rare these days. I feel like we see damp tailgates everywhere, and you can get it as a standalone option. A lot of things at this price point are a la carte options. So if you wanted it, you could get it, but it's going to cost you a few $100. Now, when it comes to features, same thing goes for the step. We don't have it here because that's an option you have to order all by itself for over $500. One thing we do have, these C-clamp pockets. So if you're working with something on your truck, you can actually stick a clamp in there and hold down some lumber, let's say, something like that. Another feature I like on F-150, I wish other manufacturers would adopt, are these tie downs. They've actually added tie downs to the edge of the tailgate. If you, again, have lumber coming out over your tailgate, even an ATV that's right to the back of your bed with the tailgate open, it's nice to have a tie down point right there. Now, as we move forward, this is the 5.5-foot bed, which means it's just a hair over 67 inches at the floor. And between those wheel wells, you actually get a little over 50 inches. So the width here is quite good, but this is the shortest box you can get on an F-150. You can see you have the spots here for these removable cleats, so you can buy different accessories from Ford and slot them in there. There's 2 hard tie downs at the back and 2 hard tie downs at the front, each one in one of the corners. And then, yeah, we do have power here as well. Where is it? There it is. That is a 400-watt plug, so not the huge power you get with Ford Pro Power on board, but still not terrible. The last feature in this bed is a little storage pocket over there on the passenger side, which is kind of nice to have too. Now, the other big numbers here, of course, towing and payload. So off of the 2-inch hitch receiver there, you can tow with this truck up to 11,200 pounds. And for payload rating, it's actually over 1,700 pounds. Let's take a closer look at the back seat of this F-150. This is the Super Crew model, so there's a lot of space, but I want to show that off plus some of the other features. So one of the things that's always been good on F-150 is they have a totally flat floor down here. If you put both of these seat backs or seat bottoms up, I mean, just look at it. No transmission tunnel, anything like that. No storage on this truck either, but it's kind of nice to have such a big space back here if you do need to throw something in. Now, I do want to also show you, how the seat backs come down, because it's kind of interesting, and I just learned about this. So, on the passenger side, the seat back comes down, you grab that little pull tab. Pretty simple, right? Basically what you'd expect. On the driver's side, it's really not that simple. So over here, the best way to do it is to put that bottom back up, crawl in the back of your F-150, and then you have to reach down behind and find this little pin that you pull up. Okay, I got it now. Did it stay unlatched? That's the problem. It wants to latch back up right away. Then I'm able to drop this and drop that. That's a crazy process. I do not understand why you have to just use this tiny little pin right here to drop your driver's side versus the passenger side, which is simple. Still, it is nice to have the flexibility to be able to lift the seat bottoms and to drop these. And if you do need a bit of storage, you do have a little bit back here, maybe for an umbrella or something like that. So nice to have the access, but a strange latch system on the driver's side. And now let me climb in. So this is 43.6 inches of rear seat legroom, and I mean, look at it, it's palatial. I can almost lay back here. This is basically the way all half-ton trucks are now. The rear seats in these largest cabs are absolutely massive. I'm a larger than full-size adult, and I'm so comfortable back here, it's ridiculous. Plenty of headroom up there, no problem. And then when it comes to features, I do have my own HVAC vents. That's nice for the rear seat passengers. I do have a 12-volt right there. Down below, a couple of USB ports, and a 400-watt 3-prong plug. So yeah, even in this more basic trim, this rear seat passenger is really getting quite a few features and all the space you could ever want. All right, folks, now we're going for a drive. Let's start by feeling the power. I've got it in sport mode with some empty road in front of me. Let's floor it. So, the turbo lag is there. It's not like it's immediately off the line, but when that power comes on, man, it feels really good. This is a 400 horsepower pickup truck, and yeah, coming off the line, it absolutely feels like it. It's nice to have sport mode, just so then it's going to adjust your, your throttle response and your shift mapping to make sure you're getting absolute, maximum acceleration. But it feels really good, and it is nice too that Ford gives you the option. Even though you're down trim levels, you're nearly base, you can still get the most powerful or one of the most powerful choices here in your F-150. So yeah, if you do have big loads to haul, but you don't want to spend a lot of money on sort of the interior and technology stuff, this is a decent package worth looking at. And speaking about the package, let's talk about it more. So when you go STX, again, it takes that basic truck and it really does step it up in a number of ways. So first of all, we do have the large infotainment screen here. I have a fully digital gauge cluster. You are getting all of sort of the top end technology out of the F-150. There's the styling stuff that I mentioned, but then also the ability to then add the FX4 off-road package and the max trailering package. So we have an integrated trailer brake controller down here. We have a rear locking differential here. Even though sort of I have cloth seats, manual cloth seats, that's certainly one thing that stands out about this truck. Also no push button start. Even though I notice sort of some of those features, the majority of the things that you really need in a truck, they're here. All the towing stuff, all the off-road stuff, all of that stuff is checked off. So I like to see that, again, even though we're in a more affordable model, we are still getting all those features. And before I continue, I do now have to spit out the price, because that is sort of where you're going to judge whether this is affordable or not. Because here in Canada, this STX we're sitting in here costs $72,000. It has about $7,000 worth of options, things like the engine, FX4 package, STX, but it's still 72 grand for what is definitely one of the more affordable trucks in the lineup. Not as expensive in the US, granted, but still feels like a lot of money. So let's keep driving and sort of, pick this thing apart further, whether this is actually good value or not. So on the negative side of the value equation are some of those things I just mentioned, a keyed start, manual cloth seats, basic steering wheel. A lot of these things you're going at for $70,000. I should be getting some nicer things. On the flip side of that argument, though, is the powertrain. This thing feels excellent. And I think the other thing, which maybe doesn't get mentioned as much as it should, is because we're down in trim levels, we are up with towing and payload. I legitimately cannot remember the last time we had a half-ton gas-powered truck here on the channel that had a payload at 1,700 pounds, actually a little bit more. So that's where you're seeing one of those big advantages. If you don't step up to the big monster luxury trucks with all of those features, you end up with a much higher payload rating. And same thing with towing. And it's funny, the hybrid engine, the hybrid EcoBoost, is not the best towing power plant in the lineup. This EcoBoost is, and again, that's a weight thing. Once you go hybrid, you add a bunch of weight, so that's not the package you want for towing. This is the package you want for towing. We have a 355 rear end here, and you could even step that up to a 373 and get over 13,000 pounds of towing out of this configuration. So those numbers have to be celebrated because, yeah, when it comes to towing and payload, you're at the lower end of the trim scale, the lower end of the price scale, but you're getting some big hard work numbers. Another positive is the way the truck drives, and I think this can be said of most half tons, but I'm talking about this F-150 here today. It's quiet and comfortable. Even though we're, again, way down the trim levels, this cab is pretty quiet, all things considered. Cruising on the highway is nice and comfy. Even with this FX4 tuned suspension, things here are still really well sprung. So this truck is absolutely daily drivable, no questions about that. Now, another feature I really appreciate is the fact that we have the workstation here. But because we're down here in an STX, we also have a column shifter. I personally love column shifters. It feels like it's appropriate for a truck, but more than that, it frees up space down here in my center console. And because we don't have the normal lay flat shifter, I can actually use the workstation while we're driving. So let's say my passenger had to work on a laptop, this can actually stay down. And I think that's pretty cool. It makes this workstation even more attractive as a feature, because if you buy it in the top trim trucks, you can only use it when you're stationary. You buy it here with the column shifter, you're good to go anytime you want. So I definitely like that. And now one last feature, which is very important for sort of the overall value equation, is fuel economy. Of course, we've stepped up to the big EcoBoost, so fuel economy is going to get a bit worse, but it's really reasonable here. We've been pulling average at 11 liters per 100 kilometers, and that's for a 400 horsepower pickup truck. So when you put those numbers together, yeah, I feel really good about the fuel you're burning. This is not a towing or payload hauling video. Probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways. If we were pulling a big trailer, EcoBoost is known to be really thirsty because, of course, you're running that turbo the whole time. But when you're running here empty, it is not hard to get really reasonable fuel economy numbers out of this power plant too. So yes, even though we've paid more to get into this engine, you're not going to pay significantly more at the gas pump. Well, this truck, as it sits, it feels like it's a trend in pickup trucks lately, and that is that manufacturers are building way more into their base trucks. And of course, you could look at it the one way, which is that they want you to spend more money. They want you to put more options into your basic truck, and they want to make more money. That's absolutely true. They are in business, but they also react to what the market is asking for. And I do think a lot of customers are looking for something like this. They walk in the dealership and they say, oh, I want a base truck, but that's not really true. Once you sit in it and you go, you know what, I do want that trailer brake controller, I do want that larger screen, I do want a rear locker and some of the off-road stuff. So even though you think you want a base truck, most trucks end up leaving the dealership like this, more basic to start, but then loaded up with features. And Ford has just gone ahead and sort of built out a package with the STX package that offers all of that to you. So to sort of answer my question off the top, I cannot in good conscience, even after telling you all that, sit here and say that this is good value. 72 grand for this truck feels too much. When I first looked at it and first got in it, my gut said 60. At $60,000 Canadian, I would feel better about this. And that's just, the way pricing has gone these days, that we're at a $60,000 kind of basic truck. But at 72, it still feels like too much. But you know what? I need to hear from you guys. Drop in the comments if you haven't already. And yeah, let me know what you think. Is there any value here? Or is Ford crazy for asking so much for this F-150? Well, folks, we are coming to the end of this one. Now, I will tell you, I do like this package. I do think you're getting all of the things you need when it comes to comfort and hard work, so I appreciate the way Ford has put this together. And then I think we just have to wrap our brains around the fact that this is what an affordable truck looks like in 2024. Prices have just gotten so big, ballooned up so much that, yeah, you are dropping $70,000 for a truck that's just one trim above base, but it is a pretty nice truck. So it does leave me kind of conflicted. And with that said, I want to hear from you. Drop into the comments. Let me know what you think. Are you okay with this package and the price point? Or do you also think it's way too expensive? I want to hear your thoughts. And while you're down there leaving them, don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit join to become a member of our channel, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.